Chadwick, welcome to the sipping point.
Hey, Laurie, how are you doing? Happy holidays.
I know, happy holidays, and thanks for wearing red. We are
I
so
know.
festive.
We are the Red Club.
We are. We're 10 days into December, and I'm so thankful you're here to help us get ready for holiday entertaining. But you're going to make it fun, affordable, and simple, which is what I need. I'm married to a chef, so I'm a little bit handicapped on the culinary skills. So I'm thrilled to have you with me. And we met years ago through various food and wine events. And so it's great to have you on the show. I would love for my listeners to learn little bit about your background and how you became a culinary and food expert influencer, helping us all cook better at home. How did this love of food start for you?
I love this question because it's so complex and deep. I wish I had the simplest answer. But the truth is, I come from a pure line of farmers all the way back to the 1600s. And I'm the first non-practicing farmer in my family. So I was
Wow.
always around a lot of food. My grandfathers, my uncles, my grandmothers all contributed to feeding the community in southeastern Pennsylvania where we grew up. And my grandfather always said that we were rich in food and poor in money. And through that, that meant that there was always a celebration that brought us to the table. And it could be something simple like you graduated from kindergarten or you got straight A's on your report card, whatever. My family was always creating moments together at the table, and we always had food from the garden or dairy or meat that was really good eating. And so it's always been part of my DNA. And at 7 years old, I discovered my mother's Betty Crocker cookbook for boys and girls, the 1957 edition, and I was obsessed with it. I taught myself every single recipe in that spiral bound cookbook. And by 10 years old, I graduated to the big Betty Crocker cookbook that I still have behind me in my library. And I've been cooking ever since.
I have one too, but I don't think I've ever made anything in it, but I do have one. So I know I know the one you're talking about. Well, that is amazing. But, and I think, here in our household, we agree, food and wine, I'll add in, given my love is, if you can find a reason to celebrate, and sometimes it's just that it's a Tuesday. But that is what brings people together in my mind, definitely in our family and the things that we do. So I love that for you. And I can't believe 10 years old, you were already on this track. So, given that you grow up and had that love from the beginning, how did you, when you got out of school, how did you decide to present that to the world? Did you think about becoming a chef, in a
No,
restaurant or?
I thought I wanted to be Mike Brady of the Brady Bunch. I thought I would be an architect, to be honest. And that didn't work out. I was really great at presentation and the artistic, creative part of it, but once I got into like engineering and structures, I sucked. And so I bailed on that and went into creating my own degree, honestly. And I think the reawakening for food and writing, because I have a journalism, English, and French degree, um, I think it started to come back to life when I went to school in Paris for a summer. As you and many others who travel there, it's really hard to go to Europe and not fall in love with food and wine, right? And
Mhm.
just the art of eating and presenting it to the joy of presenting to other people. And from there, I ended up working with food brands. I was working with a fried chicken brand when I was 25 years old, and I got up at 4 a.m. in the morning and called the Southeast bureau chief at CNN to pitch a Church's Chicken story. And it was crazy, but I loved it. And that's where I fell in love with media. And just one thing led to another. And the next thing I know, I'm working with the people who are in the early years shaping Food Network. And then I found myself working with Pam Krause, who is Ina's and Giada's and Martha Stewart's editor, who taught me how to do cookbooks. And the next thing I know, it all just kind of turned into this career that I'm contributing to magazines. I'm at the Today Show. And it was all just out of curiosity and passion that was born when I was really young.
I love that. And there's a great Steve Jobs quote. It's something like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You don't know where everything's going to take you. And it sounds like for you as well as I think me too, all these different passions that you had and skills that you developed all came together now in the ability for you to use them, the cooking, the journalism, the PR and pitching the network. So I'm thrilled to have you here. And the holidays are upon us and people are going to start showing up, maybe invited or not invited, or maybe we need to bring a dish to somebody else's party.
Yeah.
Well, you have an amazing holiday guide that you just released. Tell us a little bit about that. And then we're going to kind of go through what people can expect to make from your guide. And I have a couple wines to pair with it.
Ooh,
So tell me
I'm
about the
excited.
guide. Yeah.
So, my grandmother died in March. And so I've been very blessed when I was born. I had all of my grandparents and great grandparents alive except for two. And so I made it 54 years with the presence of a grandparent in my life. And so this holiday season, I'm really thinking about the simple things that my grandparents in particular brought to our family for the holidays. And that doesn't mean cooking, very difficult things. It's like the simple things that you can get your family together and share in and make and just really enjoy delighting other people, whether they're coming to your place or you're heading over there. That's really been on my mind this holiday season. That's what I wanted to create with this holiday treat cheat sheet, which is a tongue twister, but it literally is, very simple. A magazine editor friend of mine taught me this is that they're girlfriend recipes. Like they're not like step by step by step, but they're simple ingredients that everybody can have access to and find at the grocery store and pull together um, and feel like they're a really special cook, even if they didn't have to cook at all.
I love that because I've already talked about my handicap in the kitchen. So, where can people go to get the guide? And then let's talk about the three stunning things you have in there to bring to a party or to put out at your party. And then I'm going to give you some ideas. And I know you'll have in the guide ideas of what to drink with it as well. But I'm going to show you my picks.
I cannot wait for your input because that wine part is not my specialty. The food part is what I bring. So I'm excited about that. So first off,
Me too.
you can follow me on Instagram at Chadwick Boyd. And if you follow me there, then you'll be given the guide. It'll be sent to directly to your DM. You can also go to my website, chadwickboydlifestyle.com, and go to the news and stories section, and you can find it there too.
Great. Perfect. All right. So Instagram or your website, either place. And tell me about these holiday jam and cheese windows. I know there's an inspiration behind it. And tell us a little bit about, I think you have samples there. So people that are watching on YouTube or seeing this on social media can see what the finished product looks like, at least from an expert perspective. Tell me a little bit about that recipe.
Well, I love using things that you can pull directly from your pantry. And this year, I have fallen in love with these Effie's biscuits. It's really kind of funny because people call me the biscuit man or the biscuit king because I make tall, tender, flaky, American biscuits. But these
Hmm.
biscuits are a company, it's woman made out of Nova Scotia. And I love really good quality specialty items. And this is a cross between a cracker and a cookie, really, really well made. And for party fare, I like something that is really sturdy, that is a canvas that you can create with. So that's what these recipes are. And you just happened to catch me. We did not plan this. Behind me is my test kitchen here in New York City in Manhattan, where I created these three recipes. So the tiles, the holiday tiles that you talked about are these.
So pretty.
Yeah, so this is the oatcake biscuit, and it reminds me of Linzer sandwich cookies. So these are basically a cheese and cracker that is a play on a classic holiday German Linzer cookie. You put red pepper jelly, like a half of a teaspoon on top, just spread it to the edges, and then take a young, pliable cheese like an Emmentaler or a Fontina, cut it about 1/8 inch thick to the size of the biscuit, and then take a mini cookie cutter or the center part of a Linzer cutter and stamp it out like that. I mean, here's a cute stocking. Here is a holly.
Aw.
You can do a tree. They're really sweet and cute. And then just adorn it with some fresh thyme or other herbs. And then I just sprinkle flake salt like snow on top. Put them in the fridge for about 10 minutes just to set the jelly. And you can take this with you if you're going to a friend's house or family. But you can put them on a platter, and I promise you, people are going to talk and think that you are the cleverest cook in the entire place because they're that cute and they're so damn delicious.
I love that. And I love Fontina, by the way. It's one of my favorite cheeses. So that's exciting to me. And thanks for giving me the background on the German inspiration, because actually, the wine I picked to go with this bite, the window bites, is
But
the
this is like
Dr.
behind door number
Yeah,
three.
it's the Dr. Lucen Riesling. And
Yum.
now this is a dry Riesling, the one I selected because I love dry Riesling, but Riesling has a lot of fruit. And so even if dry, the fruitiness there is going to be a great matchup to the red pepper jelly if you have that. Or I think you could use what was it? There was another jam that you could
It's like a
use in.
strawberry rhubarb jam or a raspberry jam works really well.
Exactly. So the little bit of sweetness in there from the jam really kind of makes me want a little bit of sweetness or fruitiness. Dr. Lucen makes a great off dry Riesling. And
Mhm.
what that means is that it's just a little bit sweet. It's off of dry, just a little bit sweeter than dry. So look for a Mosel German Riesling, either off dry, even dry, I think would work because you have the cheese, you have the savory elements as well, and the salt on there. The acidity in here is really good. So that's going to stand up to the salt that you're kind of sprinkling on there. But you've
Mm.
got the fruit and sweetness to balance out the jam as well. And Riesling is just really food friendly and goes with
Hmm.
so many different things. So if you're going to a party or you're having a party, a Riesling will go with a myriad of things that you might be serving, whether they're the appetizers or an entree or beyond. And while we love to talk dry in the wine world, most people like wine with a little bit of sweetness. If you look at the US as a whole, there's more non-dry drinkers than there are, people who like bone dry wines. So the German Riesling was my suggestion here. But I also love in your guide that you mentioned Beaujolais,
Mm.
Village being an option. And I did bring one of those to the table, which I'll talk about with another one of your recipes. But I
Okay.
love your idea of Beaujolais or Gamay for really all three of these. I think that's a solid, because Gamay has such great fruit, but good acidity as well. It's, I think, a great pairing for everything in your guide, actually.
I am so excited to hear you say that because Gamay is something that I have gone back to this season. I can't tell you why, but it was, when you just get um, around on the side of your tongue, you get a craving for a flavor or a taste that you have had.
Yes, the
And for whatever
salivation.
reason,
Yeah.
yeah, just like that calling back to Gamay. And so it has been on the forefront of my mind. And I love that you've affirmed that. I
Yes.
guess this is the holiday, the year of Gamay.
It is kind of the year of Gamay. It's quite popular, and a lot of natural winemakers are using Gamay, and the natural wines are a pretty hot segment right now. So yeah, you're on trend. You're on trend, Chadwick.
Excellent. Oh, I love that.
Perfect. And I wanted to say too, the Dr. Lucen Riesling that I picked up, I think was around $15, $16. So you don't need to break the bank. It doesn't need to be expensive wine. It's delicious, easy to open with a screw cap. And Dr. Lucen is one of the most famous winemakers in Germany. Everything he makes, if I see Dr. Lucen on the bottle, I know I'm going to be good.
Mm,
So I'm with you. It doesn't have to be expensive
no.
and uber time consuming. So, well, I know the next one has a couple things I love, Gruyere and prosciutto. So tell me a
Mm.
little bit about that recipe.
Yeah, so these are the Gruyere date prosciutto bites, and I mean, they're so pretty on, just a simple china plate like this. They're the Effie's Gruyere biscuits that I've just placed a dried plum on top, or a date, or any other. You could put an apricot if you want, and then just wrap it thinly with some prosciutto, tight, and put it in the oven at 375 for about 18 to 20 minutes. The edges of the biscuit are going to caramelize, the prosciutto is going to crisp. Bring it out of the oven, brush it with some honey, and then sprinkle it with some crushed pink peppercorns, and just let
Mm.
it sit for just a couple minutes and then serve them. And this is another bite that people are going to go, oh my gosh, this is like, what is this? And they're going to wolf it down. So, definitely party friendly. How easy was it? I just gave you a really quick recipe, and I'm pretty certain that most people are like, oh, I can do that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And where is the best place to for people to find the Effie's biscuits? Is it
It's a
on
great
Amazon or
Yeah, so you can actually, I'm glad you asked, because you can go to effie'shomemade.com on their shop. And if you use my code free shipping CB, you will get free shipping coming straight to your
hmm.
home. You can also go to a specialty, food shop, Whole Foods, in the Marie's cheese section of Kroger or Albertsons. That's the where you'll find them.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, for this one, I did pick the Gamay. I know we touched on it just there at the end of our last one, but I love the idea. And really, if you think about it, the Riesling is, with both of the first two that we've talked about, the Riesling would be solid as well as this Gamay. Because I just had George DeBoeuf on talking about Beaujolais
Mm,
Nouveau, I just happened to have one of those here. Nouveau is a Gamay that basically is the first release of Gamay every year, third Thursday in November. So we just kind of passed that. It's a fruitier style of Gamay than, say, a Village or a Cru Beaujolais. But because of that, I thought it was, and it has nice acid, it was a
mm,
good matchup, especially with the first one where you might have a little bit of jam included on that. But also here where you have saltiness, so you have the acidity to match that. And then you have the fruitiness of this Gamay to match the sweetness in the date or the plum, whichever you choose to use in the recipe. And I think people are really liking this kind of lighter style of red
yeah.
these days, not the big heavy oak bomb that you have to have a steak with. Like, this is just much more food friendly throughout a meal. And that was my suggestion for this one. And you could bring a Riesling and a Gamay, and you have it pairings throughout the evening, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm making a list and checking it twice for my
Of
wine.
course.
And so as soon as we are done here, I'm gonna go have to place an order.
There you go. I love that. And then the other suggestion you had, which I think would be solid as well for these first two, and actually all three, is Prosecco Rosé.
Mm,
Because Prosecco is not super bone dry, and it can hand up to spice and fruitiness in the foods, which we have in these first two. And rosé gives you a little more fruit and flavor than just a basic prosecco. So I love that prosecco rosé suggestion. I didn't have one today, but I would go out and get one, and it's a solid pairing for both of those.
well, that sounds delicious. I love a sparkling uh, a sparkling rosé, and I'm loving
Me
the
too.
the recommendation of the gamay. I'm just thrilled about that. That's so great. And my taste buds are like, woo, let's drink.
Woo! Yes, and I appreciate that in the holiday guide, you're also giving us some non-alcoholic wine options because
Yeah.
there are so many good ones. And just to mention, one of my favorite Prosecco producers is Mianetto, and you probably know their bottle. It's an orange label, orange foil at the top. You'll see it next time you go to the store. But they make an excellent non-alcoholic Prosecco. I'm not sure if they're making a rosé one just yet, but their non-alcoholic Prosecco is really, really good. You know, if you're, there's lots of reasons why people might not want to drink, whether it's health or just want to take a night off, or there's, just it's a Tuesday night and they want to feel good in the morning. So look for the Mianetto non-alcoholic Prosecco. I think they do a really nice job with it. But I love
And
that you included that in your guide.
yeah, so a lot of my subscribers and my readers, my magazine readers, have started to ask me about that. So I love hearing about the brands that you're talking about because that's also new to me. So I'm being educated because I want to, one, have some other options too, but I want to give some great recommendations to, my community that really go well with the food that I make.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. All right. So I saved the chocolate, which for me, if it's not chocolate, it's not dessert. I don't know. I'm just that kind of person. But we saved the chocolate for last. And each one of these is using a different Effie's, correct?
Yeah.
And so tell me about this. The last recipe, the exact name for is the biscuit bark bites. Yum.
Yes. These right here.
My gosh, I wish I could reach over the airways
There
and
you
take
go.
a
Well,
bite. That
you're
is
you're
looks
drinking
so
wine and I've
delicious.
got the
Yeah.
treats.
We got to get together so we can have both of these together.
I know.
I'm a huge chocolate fan. So how do you put this? This is a perfect dessert to bring to a party or just to end a meal because it's not heavy. It's just a nice, these days a lot of people just want a bite of something sweet. We don't maybe want a whole piece.
That's exactly right. So I'm a Halloween baby, and my favorite candy bar is an Almond Joy. And what I love about
Mm.
these Effie's cocoa biscuits is that they have a hint of coconut in them with a balance of salt. And, your wine palate will appreciate, and your husband's a chef, so you'll appreciate, really good balance of different flavors when you bite into something. The other thing that I know that people love to do these days is bark. I find bark to be messy because you have to melt the chocolates and then like spread it out and then you have to break up, the cookies or whatever and make that. And I was like, why do we have to do that? So basically, I just put the Effie's cocoa biscuits down on a sheet pan lined with parchment, drizzle, I melt some dark 70% or 80% dark chocolate in the microwave for 2.5, 3 minutes, whisk it to cool it down just a little bit, give it some gloss, and then cut up some candied orange into little pieces, just like little studs like that,
Mm.
and place it on top of the biscuits, drizzle with the dark chocolate, and then I'm kind of in love with these chocolate pearls, these little crunchy, like malted little beads, and they're pretty,
Mm.
just like a jewel box for the holidays. So put those down after you've drizzled with chocolate, drizzle a little bit more to set them in place. And then here's the thing that just makes this like a chocolate shop boutique treat. Smoked salt. Sprinkle smoked salt on top of all of
Ooh.
that with a little bit of sparkling sugar. And this thing is so decadent. And you're right, Laurie, put this, you can set this on the counter, let it dry, or put it in the refrigerator in about like 45 minutes or so. It's going to set. And I love to have this. So you get basically, we've got bark, but just in a little bite.
Hmm.
And I love a little treat like this with a really good red wine to give to my guests during the holidays. I think people really don't love a lot, like, a big slice of cake or whatever. We want like, just a couple bites, but we want the bites to be really, really good.
I agree. And I think the Gamay, again, could be a really solid red for that. But I brought something special if,
Okay.
you want to really make this a dessert pairing. I brought with me, it's called Rosa Regale, and it's from Banfi. and
Mm.
it's a Bracchetto d'Acqui. Bracchetto is the name of the grape variety. It's made in the Piedmont region of Italy, up in the northwest. It's at the foot of the Swiss Alps, if you want to imagine where this is. And
Hmm.
it is a frizzante, so it's semi-sparkling and is sweet. Now, this is said to have been Cleopatra's favorite wine. That's how long this
Yum.
stuff has been around.
Wow.
But for me, if I'm having chocolate and I want to make a real experience out of the pairing, Bracchetto is the way to go. And so it is a sparkling wine. So you would serve it in your traditional sparkling glassware. And it's kind of like, if I want to liken it to anything, raspberry champagne. It just
Yum.
has those lovely flavors. It's lightly sparkling. And oh, by the way, it's lower in alcohol. I want to say it's 7% alcohol.
Hmm.
So normal wines are going to be around 12 to 14%. So the other great thing is if you're doing a brunch or something like that and you don't want, higher alcohol options, you can have some of your non-alcohol wines, but this could be a little treat at the end. I think it's the intensity of that chocolate is going to be nicely offset by the fruitiness of this, and the bubbles clear your palate, which is what I love about
Mm.
sparkling wine as
You
well.
said something I'm not familiar with. Did you say frizzante or it's a
Yeah,
semi-bubble?
frizzante. Yep,
Frizzante.
it's an Italian word for meaning it's not fully sparkling, it's
Okay.
semi-sparkling. And
Wow.
so it's not like if you take a sip of champagne, how bubbly that is. This is going to be much more lightly sparkling,
Mm.
and but it's going to have that little bit of sweetness on the end.
Mm.
If you mentioned grandmothers or like aunts or moms or whatever, they're going to love this wine. This is going to be the hit of any girls party, or even the guys, if you want to make your lady happy or whatever. Nice chocolate bark or bites, and this, it would be a great gift as well.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, you just put together a tin of these, you pick
Yes,
up a bottle of that and take it over to your friends. And, I said one of
right.
the things that we did, my grandparents were sticklers for delighting everybody during the holidays. And there's no greater way than making these very simply, picking up a bottle of that, and people are gonna love it. They're just gonna smile and be joyful.
I love that idea. And then it just sparked a question in me. I hope it's okay for me to just kind of off the cuff. But if people are out there and they have people in their lives that love food, that love, home cook, are there any gift ideas that you can give me that you think would delight someone who just loves cooking and loves entertaining? Anything interesting that you've just brought on board to your kitchen?
Yeah, so I just launched my food gifts for 2025, so it's a great question. One thing I'm loving if you've got a food lover in your life, Burlap and Barrel is a fantastic single origin spice company. Go to
Mm,
their website. They're wonderful, wonderful human beings, but um, they have relationships directly with farmers all over the world, and their spices and their blends are premium. I mean, they're truly, truly wonderful, but they also are affordable. So they're fair to the customer and fair to the farmer.
mm.
But they have a classics reinvented six pack that has a sumac lemon pepper. It has a toasted pepita pumpkin spice in it. And I do not love pumpkin spice at all, but if you're going to do pumpkin spice, having it with toasted pepitas is like the way to go.
Yum.
There's a steak seasoning, there's a barbecue. It really, really is good and special, and it's affordable. I think if I remember correctly, it's 54.99. So great gift.
Great. So, where can people see the more extended list of your food gift guide?
You can go to chadwickboydlifestyle.com, go to the news and stories section, and you can find it there.
That's perfect. I never know what to get my husband. He's a chef. What do you do for someone like that? That it's kind of intimidating. I know people say that they don't want to buy me wine, probably for the same reason, but what would you do?
So chefs love knives. I love knives. And there is a brand that's a woman-owned brand, two women. It's called Messermeister. And
Oh.
I found them a couple years ago. I have fallen in love with them. They have this cheese and tomato knife. It's a 5-inch cheese and tomato knife. I personally love the olive wood one, which is like $160, but they've got a custom one that's 5 inches that it's 89.99, and it slices through soft and hard cheeses. And during summertime, during the peak of tomato season, it slices beautiful
Mm.
slices of tomatoes. It's really, really a special gift.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. Now you just helped me out, and I still have time, I'm sure, to get it. There's only
Yes, you
15
do,
more
for sure.
days. Yes, I love it. Well, Chadwick, this has been amazing. I know people can go to your website, download the recipes, the holiday entertaining guide we just talked about, your gift ideas, but and any other ways you want people to interact with you before we go.
Yeah, go to my Instagram at Chadwick Boyd, and send me a message. I love to interact with everyone. So if you're new, let me know that you're new there. And if you have any questions with any of the holiday treats that we've talked about today, or other recipes even on my website, on the recipe section of my website, ask me a question. I'm totally available to help at any time, especially during the holiday season when sometimes you're in a pinch, right? And you're
Yeah,
just like,
right.
"Oh my God." So, yeah, I'm not the guy who's never gonna respond
Respond.
to you. Yeah.
Chadwick, happy holidays, and thank you so much for coming on The Sipping Point.
Happy holidays, my friend.
Cheers.
Cheers.